So it should be okay. Good evening again. The name is Teresa Taylor. Programs Manager at the Institute of Law and Economics. We are so excited, first of all, that you were able to join us. Thank you for making the time. Thank you for, your interest. There are quite a couple other persons who should be here with us, but let's see. And it just leaves more for those of us who are here and on time. So I am going to ensure that this evening is a very energetic evening. It's going to be very fulfilling and productive, and that's the plan. We do have a couple of persons who had said they were joining us from some other parts of the Caribbean, and so we look forward to hearing from them as well and seeing them with us. We are going to be introducing to you our guest speakers this evening, and boy, I don't know if I can do this one any justice. I got a very long thing about this person, so I'm going to do my best to ensure I do some justice to this person. But both of the persons who will speak to you are persons who are very versed in the field, who understand the industry, who have a great appreciation and passion for the industry of law. I'm going to start with Ms. Clover Edwards, who is in fact the Chief Executive Officer of Corporate and Governance Secretariat. She's also no stranger as a paralegal. She has spent many years in the industry and has developed a rich knowledge based on the skills that she has covered over the 19 years that she has been in the industry. She has a plethora of qualifications, including a Master's of Laws degree, an LLB, and also she has been trained in paralegal studies and has a passion for the law, and her recent registration of the Paralegal Association. So she's planning to do some great things. The Paralegal Association that she's forming in Jamaica for the very first time in the Caribbean is going to be added to her many ambitions. She is also the founder, as we mentioned, of Corporate and Governance Secretariat, offering some excellent business services to individuals. She's very big on volunteerism. She's a mother, a member of the Kiwanis Club, a passionate legal influencer, and as you can see, clearly loves to read and loves school. So please make welcome Miss Clover Edwards. Clover. Hi, Miss Edwards. How are you? You are muted.
It's really great to be here. Thank you so much.
Getting used to it. We are getting used to it. It's fine. It's fine. A pleasure to have you this evening. We can't wait to hear from you. We are going to be joined also by her co-panelist. Boy, somebody really who needs no introduction to some of us, But the person who will join us is in fact Mr. Ramon Clayton, who is an attorney at law, having practiced in the field for what? I don't want to understate or overstate, but I believe it's about 4 years based on what I'm seeing here. And also a lecturer of the paralegal program, and also a passionate traveler who organizes excursions. So guys, apparently this is a side hustle that you can actually get into as a legal practitioner, or maybe not. But we are making welcome Mr. Ramon Clayton, very passionate about the field of law, very good at what he does, and to the best of my knowledge, the claims manager at one of the popular insurance companies here in Jamaica. Mr. Clayton, please join us. Mr. Clayton, are you there? We see your mic unmuted, but we are not seeing you. So we're hoping it's not an internet glitch.
It was actually a glitch because I was trying to get my applause going through YouTube, but it was.
Oh, wow. He was going to applaud. Okay, guys, maybe we should unmute and applaud him.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Clover. Yes, we're ready. We're here. We're ready. And let's get into it.
All right, great. So these two persons are far more knowledgeable than I am about the industry. So we're going to be relying on their knowledge and what they say. We at the Institute of Law and Economics, really, like, just to give you a little bit of background on what we do and why we do what we do. At the Institute of Law and Economics, we really are interested in multidisciplinary training, particularly in the fields of law and economics. We have found that in most scenarios, the field of law interacts a lot with economics. It's evident in insurance, it's evident in banking, and pretty much just everywhere you go, you find that law underscores or underpins business. And so that has been our passion area, upskilling the Caribbean in this area. And so pre-law, paralegal, digital marketing, we've been branching out into a number of courses focusing on professional development for persons in the region, but more so offering them not just educational training, but skills so that they can use these skills to go and make a meaningful contribution in the Caribbean as we branch out. So we are going to be having this quick conversation with Mr. Clayton and Miss Edwards. And I want them to tell me a little bit about why. So Mr. Clayton, tell me, why is it that you got into the legal industry, and what would you want to share about the experience that you've had so far?
Well, like a lot of persons, well, a lot of male persons that I spoke to when I first joined the profession, we were all told when we were younger that we talk a lot.
Oh, wow.
And in trying to craft your way out of whatever trouble or mischief that you would get into, persons would always comment to me and say, "Yo, you really should be a lawyer, because even when I was wrong and strong," as one of my lecturers like to say. And I guess it was from there. I always had a passion for reading. It has dwindled much since I started to practice law. But growing up, I certainly had a passion for reading, elocution, speech, drama, and as such, I was always comfortable with being on my feet, and the spontaneity of things really was exciting for me. So I guess that matched with just my mother's constant watching of Matlock really shaped me and molded me to go into the profession. And then when I really got into it, I began to see that there were many aspects, and I believe that when we were in faculty and even in law school, what we were exposed to certainly wasn't even a smidget of what the actual law and legal profession is. Certainly in terms of the varied areas of practice, going through the different courthouses. I mean, I've traveled across, I believe, 13 of the 14 parishes and have represented clients there. And with each parish is a new adventure. My friends used to tease me and call me the country lawyer, because one day I'll be in St. Mary, one day I'll be in St. Anne. And I can tell you, it really helped my traveling business, because I could see the beaches, see the spots, and know where to go get lunch.
And that's where the passion came from.
Certainly.
Okay, you never see smoke without fire.
Yeah, exactly. So that has been my experience in law. I mean, I always try to make everything that I do fun and exciting, even in the areas that I practice, which we will get into later. But definitely, I'd encourage everyone to get into the profession of law. I mean, all the paralegals that I teach and tutor, I always indicate to them that, look, this is just step one. Take the different steps, go through it, because there's so much that it has to offer. And I think once you have that drive and you believe in yourself, because that is a component in it, believing in the end goal and working towards it, then you'll be able to get the desired result.
Okay, so listening to you, it sounds, guys, like we need to have a passion for reading. We need to like to travel. We need to talk a lot. It sounds like a couple of the core skills that we need to have, but don't sound too hard. Most of us can, talk, but it's odd because I did not have Mr. Clayton Pegg as somebody that speaks a lot, but you live and you learn. Yes, so Miss Edwards, talk to me. Why is it that you're in the field? What is it that you do exactly? You have so many wonderful titles and training. Tell me a little bit about what you do. You're muted. I'm going to ask both of my guest speakers to turn up their mics. Wait, I'm not sure if it's just me or if my guests are having the challenges. I'm not hearing you quite as well as I was earlier on.
Okay.
Yes, hearing you
so
now.
Teresa, as I mentioned, as Clayton mentioned earlier, I'm also passionate with reading. I started Nancy Drew, and it's always, I'm not sure if there's an episode that I have not read before, but it have always been like that. And I was passionate in solving problems, helping people. I always want to say, I want to become an attorney. But my journey started by first working with the St. Mary Arm Court, and the passion and working in each department. It's a lot. Yeah. And I ventured then into paralegal. But the journey, becoming a paralegal, let me realize that I had superpowers that I didn't even know I had to unlock, and I unlocked them.
So what are some of those superpowers?
I was like a compliance officer because I have to make sure we haven't missed a court date. We have all the dates that needed to be done. Be on top of it. I was an accountant preparing statements of account. I'm a researcher. I'm a drafter. You're everything. And most of all, you have to be high in customer service because our clients is what pay our bills. So we had to be strong on that and make sure our clients are comfortable. So when I got into being the real paralegal, that was where and working with those attorneys, I was like, I definitely want to become an attorney. So I'm on that journey now, still.
Okay. So here we go. And
So
here I was thinking that you did all these studies just for doing studies.
No. So I've done from leaving the seminary RM, I went to the law fraternity, which is, I worked in litigation for 5 years. That was very, very interesting. It's a hard road to travel, but it was also I've learned a lot from that, very interesting. Then I went to public defender, where I also learned another aspect of the law for defending the people of the country. And, it opened your eyes to a lot.
So where are you now?
I'm with Jamaica Deposit. Yeah, I'm with Jamaica Deposit Insurance Corporation in the corporate field. So I've ventured a lot. So being a paralegal can take you into many fields.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing a lot from you, and I really want to give the persons who are here an opportunity to ask some questions later on. So guys, we're just letting you know, if you have questions, you can field them to me directly, and of course we'll ask them. But let me just get into it quickly and ask them, based on the environment that we're in, why is paralegal any better an area to go into than any other? What is it that sets paralegal apart as a skill, or what is it about paralegal why a person should choose to do this and not something else?
Well, paralegal, it is important because attorneys or persons working in legal fraternity are very busy person, and they need to focus on the area of law, the technical area of law, while a paralegal gives them the support and the assistance. Instead of them liaising with the clients 24/7 and preparing documents, and you have a paralegal to do all of that and keep them on their feet. A paralegal is also very important because they are the backbone of any company. It doesn't matter if it is a law firm. It doesn't matter if it is a corporate office. It doesn't matter where you go. You're that important and you're relied on. So that is why it doesn't matter how many paralegals you train, there will always be a need for paralegals.
So I like what you're saying, because somebody told me once, and at the institute we train paralegals too, and we're always getting emails for paralegals. But I keep hearing the argument that there are too many lawyers. So if there are too many lawyers, why is there a demand for paralegals? I don't understand.
Well, if you have too many lawyers.
It's like, are there really too many attorneys though? Why is there a demand for paralegals?
Totally disagree. It's just a say. There are too many attorneys, but no, they're not. I don't think so, because there's always going to be a need for attorneys and paralegals. If we're modernizing our legal system now, in the court system, our police in the Jamaica Constabulary Force, and even in the JDF. So you will need attorneys and you will need paralegals, especially in the JCF, where there's a lot of statements of claims, statements to be filed. You need
JCF means Jamaica Constabulary Force?
Force, right. You need paralegals on the grounds. You need paralegals on the ground to actually prepare assist the police officer in preparing these statements. It's good to have, because you can't have legal doing such a very, very significant legal field and not having strong technocrats behind you to put these things across.
I would agree 100% with Clover, because going back to the points that you first made, I think it speaks largely to the business of law. And in the business of law, we have to preserve relationships, especially with the client. No, a client like to hear that his attorney is busy, because it means that other people trust them with their work.
Oh, that is the truth. They like to hear that you're busy?
Yes, but it comes with a caveat, which is that they want someone who they are able to rely on and relay information with, and they want to be able to know that they can establish a relationship with someone whereby they can say, well, what's happening on my file and stuff is actually happening.
Right.
Because then the relationship becomes preserved that way. And you may find a lot of times that the client has a better relationship with the paralegal or with the legal assistant than they do with the attorney. So definitely being able to multitask as well is very important. That's a skill that being a paralegal actually gives you, the ability to multitask, the ability to have and maintain a good command of the English language, the ability to read quickly, to read in large volumes, to be able to actually write legibly, and not only to write legibly physically, but to write well when doing communication, the ability to be concise, direct, straight to the point, because at the end of the day, these skills are transferable to any field. And the attention to detail that a good paralegal has will always set you apart and help you in any aspect of your life.
Right.
I mean, this can be, well, as simple as wearing your seatbelt when you drive. Because from from our paralegal course, every paralegal now knows that when you are in an accident and you don't have on your seatbelt, you're contributory liable for your accident or your injuries. So just little things like that. And I think there will never be an argument that's made by me to say that there are too many lawyers in the profession. As Clover rightly stated, that organizations, Jamaica, corporate Jamaica, we're all modernizing their internal systems. And as such, persons don't use large law firms anymore. They try to bring in a lawyer, one or two lawyers, and they bring in one or two paralegals to assist with the legal work that they have. And not only until like you may need a specialist in an area is the work farmed out. So there will always be a need for lawyers. I believe in my year group, there were about 230 of us. For those of us who did not get to be employed right away, we started practices on our own. I haven't met anyone in my year group who is unsuccessful in the sense that they have not been able to put themselves in a position to practice law. And it's not only limited to Jamaica as a lawyer, and being a paralegal is not only limited to Jamaica. You have different Caribbean territories. And
hold on there, you're getting into something that I wasn't quite ready for.
Okay, all right.
Going right overseas. But
right.
No, I think you made some very good points, and I just want to ensure that the persons who are listening are getting those points. So first of all, our speakers don't agree that there are too many attorneys. I don't agree either, because there are always going to be areas of law that are under practice, underserved, and the law continues to evolve. So the more people you have doing it is the better quality of service you have. And I can tell you, based on the demand that we get for the paralegals that come through our program, we certainly for good paralegals, and I'll say make that distinction, it doesn't seem to suggest to me that there is any breakdown in terms of the demand for it, and that there's not there. In fact, I would suggest that there are probably not enough paralegals, not enough good paralegals who understand. And I keep saying good because, and I want to ask my panelists to share a little bit on this. Is paralegal something that you can just study and just put it on a shelf, or what is the level of practicality that you need to have it? I mean, what does it matter? Does it really matter? Why does it matter?
Well, you have paralegals, and as you rightly mentioned, you have good paralegals. And for them to stand out as being good paralegals, it started out with respect for yourself, respect for your job. So you just don't become a paralegal and sit and wait an attorney to tell you what to do. You gotta be proactive. You gotta understand the business. And you have to put yourself in the business and embrace what it requires. So you match the goals of the business and you apply yourself where that is concerned.
Right.
So as I said, a good paralegal knows what she or he is about.
Right. Thank you for that point. Yes, Ramon.
Fully agree. And I mean, it's a distinction that we make in teaching, because students somewhat are, they shy away from the law. A lot of students shy away. A lot of people shy away from the law. a lot of persons feel intimidated by it. And even in the paralegal course, they feel intimidated by it. I always say, look, this is a transition. Your first semester exam grades will be different from your second and will be different from your third, because you're entering now into an atmosphere that you had no clue about when you started month 1. And by month 8, you'd be able to quote the law, you'd be able to speak to persons from a legal perspective, because it's a retraining that we do. And for those who have not been exposed to it before, they would certainly have a new appreciation for it. So definitely, though, for you to be able to separate yourself, you have to be able, as I said before, to multitask, to understand the business of law, to be reliable.
Right.
Reliability in terms of when you say something or a task is given, you can trust that this person will follow through, and follow through, as Clover said, with a certain level of quality that would be beneficial. Because as lawyers, the canons of professional ethics to which we are bound not only for ourselves, but also the members who work in our office, including
Right.
paralegals, office assistants, and legal assistants. So there is a certain level that is expected. And I always tell my students that paralegals can do anything. So as Clover said, in her
Did you guys hear
experience,
that?
she
Paralegals can
was
do anything.
accompanied. Yeah, that is the matter.
It's
That's
true.
because even as a lawyer, like I found myself having to be doing accounting, and everybody know that Ramon hate maths. Having to do accounting, I have client care if it is that it's like for family type matters, which I absolutely hate for that reason, because everybody know I have a soft heart. So when you sit down and you tell me your problems, I become a counselor, and then I have to still do the legal work, you know. So, but this is where like being a good attorney and even being a good paralegal comes in, because you're a jack of all trades and a master of all. And as such, when you're a standard paralegal, you'll be in high demand. You'll get your bonuses. You'll get your increased salary. You will get salary increase perhaps mid-year, because there are, and I don't want to go farther ahead, but there are some paralegals who they don't bother to become lawyers because they earn the same amount as lawyers because they're that good.
Okay, so hold on. So let's just touch a little. So guys, first of all, I'm here to underscore everything that they have just said. So for me personally, I know I'm not on the panel, but I really I'm realizing that you're pretty much saying what I experienced. So had I known what I know now about paralegals, I probably would have studied it before I started studying law. Because what happened is, for me personally, and I'm going to ask you guys some of the industries apart from just in a law firm that a paralegal can work in. So just give me some places. But for me, for example, I learned a lot about being a paralegal actually by going into banking. And by going into banking, it was the side of banking that had to do with recovery of assets. And so the paralegal was really the person who, as Clover says, calculated the statements of accounts, instructed the lawyers as to what argument the bank wants to take and what route, and they had to manage the schedules of all the clients, manage the schedule of the attorney, and also ensure that everything on that file was confidential and accurate. And all of that information, all of that was my responsibility. I wasn't a paralegal, and I had to rely on a paralegal to train me as to how to calculate, because in court, you calculate things depending on if it's US dollar, Jamaican dollar, what type of account, how long, and the award of the court, and all of that. And you have to know. And I'm not trying to scare the persons in here who don't love maths, because you can don't love maths and be really good at accounts. But at the end of the day, it is something, as Ramon has said, that literally paralegals can do anything. And I like to say this to persons who I work with. I really have a great level of respect for persons who are good paralegals, because they are worth their weight in gold. Like, you cannot give them up for anything. I don't know if you know anybody who, if they tell you something, you can take it to the shop and buy all your groceries before them even give you the money, because they're just that sure. And for me, I found paralegals to be like that. I've had to rely on paralegals, and a good paralegal can make an average lawyer an excellent lawyer just because of the support
Definitely.
that he or she has in a paralegal. And because of that, we're going to touch now on the fact that they are able to transition to many different industries and still earn And so Ramon, tell me at least two other industries apart from sole practices that they can do with attorneys. Where else can paralegals work?
I mean, paralegals can work in government institutions, for example, the insolvency agency. They have a legal department. So basically, anywhere that has a legal department, for example, Indicom, they also have a legal department.
So Indicom, guys, for those of you not in Jamaica, that is the investigative unit for the police force, right? Accountability, yeah.
Yes, there are paralegal jobs available in banks. I mean, just before this lecture, I said, let me Google to see what is actually available now. And I was able to pull up paralegal job offerings from Sagicor Bank, from VMBS, and another financial corporation. And the benefit of those as well is that you not only learn, well, the legal side, but if there are other areas, let's say, for example, you had a background in banking or finance or in international relations, etc., you will be able to tap into those skills even in your paralegal practice.
Yes. Okay, all right. So Miss Edwards, Clover, talk to me a little bit about some of the other industries. So he has mentioned government, insolvency units, Indicom, banking, that persons can go into anywhere else because you have been in the corporate world as a paralegal for some time. Oh no, I think we may have lost Clover.
I'm back.
Oh, you're back. Okay, good.
Okay, good.
Because Rowan was just wondering if he's the only one though.
Most of all government agency uses paralegal. That's a must for them. But what we did not mention is that paralegal can also be an entrepreneur.
Yes.
So
talk to me. How?
It's a paralegal, the skills and training that they've developed over time, they could offer services on their own, but such as doing company's office filing. They can do the title's office filing. They can prepare draft contracts. They can work with attorneys, like have their stuff, prepare their stuff and have attorneys sign on it for them. They can offer many services. They can, simple as taking petitions from clients.
So hold on. So say I'm a paralegal. I just want to know, because I want to make the distinction. I can offer these services as a freelancer.
As a freelancer or a virtual assistant. Okay. So you can, all you can do in the computers, most attorneys, they try to cut costs by just asking freelance paralegals to assist them.
Right.
So there's that avenue for freelance paralegals, because what it does, they don't have the overhead costs to paying your taxes and all those statutory requirements. So once they have a trusted, and I must quote, a very trusted paralegal, they will work with that paralegal to prepare these documents for them, and they're paid. That paralegal can also do work for other attorneys, as long as it doesn't conflict with the attorney that they are working with.
They can work for more than one as long as it does not conflict.
Exactly.
So do you have to physically go into the office, or these services can be offered online and so on?
It can be offered online. It can be offered. You got your service done, you prepare your documents, and you can drop them at the attorney's office.
Okay.
So there's flexibility. If the attorney needs you to come in and sit with a client, so just take notes and prepare the petition or whatever needed to be done, you can come in and sit for that hour or two. You leave and you do what is necessary in return. So there are avenues to make your money as a paralegal.
So I like what I'm hearing so far. There's one more area that I heard about that I just want to throw in there. How about immigration? Can it be immigration? Because I saw Ramon was talking about even working overseas. He was getting into that.
Yes. And that is one of the reasons why I even think of doing the Paralegal Association of Jamaica. Because there are diaspora overseas who need assistance, paralegal assistance in Jamaica here, but they don't know who to contact. The key thing again, trust is very important for a paralegal. So with the association, what it does is to unify all paralegals within Jamaica, group their skill sets, what they can do, and have a section for review. So if you do not perform the way you're supposed to perform, a review will be done on you, and you may not be able to get work as you would like. So it gives some accountability for who you are as a paralegal. So now we develop good paralegals instead of just paralegals.
Right, and that's so for attorneys and a number of other respectable professions as well, accountants and so on, who have bodies that regulate them. You know, I know for certain lawyers have it. I don't see why paralegals shouldn't, especially seeing as how important they are. Paralegals pretty much see everybody business, you know. They see everybody's business.
Exactly.
And I just want to jump in here and say as well that something that I really realized recently for the persons who are here is that, you know, for some of us who like to listen to persons and listen to their story and say, and I was driving on the road and this happened and so on. A lawyer is really who determines if they have a cause of action and is trained to give advice. So if you're wondering what is the
Exactly.
difference between the two, even though the paralegal supports, so far what I've garnered from what Ramon is saying and what you're saying is that one gives the advice, the legal advice, and litigates and it basically advocates in that way, but the paralegal does the procedural things that
Exactly.
ensure that the processes come. So okay, so let's use an example. So say for example you have a divorce matter dealing with, things have to be filed by a certain time or a certain date, and in tandem with, probably if you have children, it has to be done a particular way. If you miss the deadline to file the maintenance and
That's where compliance comes in.
all of a sudden the action may not be as effective. The divorce documents may not be accepted because you missed
Or the
a
action
deadline.
cannot be filed again.
Go again, Ramon.
Or for example, in a personal injury matter, the claim cannot
Okay.
be filed again because the statute of limitation has passed.
That is why compliance is so important as a paralegal.
Okay, so they are the ones who ensure that, and you can imagine if the attorney have 50 odd clients and probably going from there to there to there, so they're relying on the paralegal to note these dates and ensure these documents go in. So as knowledgeable as the lawyer may be, if the paralegal is not good and on top of their game in terms of accuracy and trustedness and just being detailed in their approach to their work, then they may miss the filing date. And, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, the client will be very unhappy with that attorney. And
the attorney would have lost the client.
Yeah, they would have lost a client. So
and
I want to talk.
you go to next. Then the attorney is called before the General Legal Counsel.
Yep.
The repercussion of, for example, not filing a $10 million claim is that the client loses $10 million. The attorney is then brought before the panel for breach of Canon 1B, basically professional negligence, and then perhaps the client can then claim that $10 million from the attorney because the
paralegal never remember.
But what you should also know, though, a paralegal can easily be blacklisted for something like this because the legal fraternity is also very small. Yeah. No one will work with you if they know you're negligent. So the paralegal must take their work seriously. They must be very ethical and transparent.
So if we're relying so much on these paralegals, what is the kind of compensation that the paralegals can, I know it ranges and it depends, and we just mentioned like a number of fields that they could be in, but what kind of compensation, what kind of money they can expect in terms of a salary? I'm sure people in the audience kind of saying, yeah man, this money we want to hear about now.
So what do you want to start with then? I'll let Ramon go first.
Right.
Tell us the truth. Tell us the truth.
So the salary ranges. There are some, for example, government institutions where the salary cap would be lower, but you get so many benefits that it adds up.
Okay. So tell us about the both.
Yeah, so the allowances, maybe you get for clothing, maybe you get for traveling, maybe you get for entertainment. So there are different allowances that you can.
Entertainment too?
It all depends on the where you work.
Okay.
I know certainly when you're in, the corporate side of things, where Clover is, that's where the big money is, people. So listen up.
We need to come work for Clover.
In the corporate industries, the money is usually more, I can fairly say. If you're in a law firm, the larger the firm, the more, and especially if it's a firm that practices like heavy in commercial law, where there are a lot of contracts, a lot of drafting, a lot of agreements that take place. Like a good functioning law large law firm is able to pay their paralegal anywhere starting from $120,000 upwards. And why I didn't put a cap on upwards is because in these private industries, they take into account a lot of intangibles, experience. They take into account, yes, monthly. So they take into account
Monthly. Yes,
experience.
Susan, monthly.
They take into account years of service, level of detail. If you bring in clients, that is also a plus, because if you make that company, for example, you have a, well, you make that company an extra $10 million for a year, then you're going to see that reflected not only in your salary, but also in your bonus. So there are these intangibles that are taken into account as you work in the private industry. When you work for a sole practitioner, especially one that is doing well in terms of the cash flow, you would start roughly at around $80,000, and it can quickly go up as in terms of months, because you have your probationary period. So you may start out at $80,000, and I have heard in some areas where paralegals are starting at $50,000, and it goes up after your probationary period is done. But from your legal training, you would have had an agreement and seen how it is that that contract would look to say when it is that you are going to start making X amount. And of course, they're deterred if it is that you're hearing these figures, $50,000, $80,000. Because as Clover rightly stated, you can be a freelancer, you can be an independent contractor, and you can offer a service, and for that service, you will be paid. So you would then be able to determine your income. But generally speaking, for private entities, I would say that we start at about 120 upwards. And in government, actually, I'm not sure in government.
Okay, so we could check on that.
Mm-hmm.
Clover, talk to us. You've worked with government, right?
I've worked with government and private.
Right. So tell us how the figures over those sides look.
Well, for private, it was a firm for me, and the figures,
Let's start with
the
government.
starting figures.
Seeing as how with government, they always have need of paralegals. So give us a broad. I know
Well,
government don't tend to compensate as big, but they have a lot of benefits though, as Raman would have mentioned.
Exactly. The government varies. It's a public body, and you have the central government. So with the public body, you will get a little more incentive, but the benefits are still there. The central government, not so lovely or pretty, but still the benefits are wonderful. So you have your options there, and as
hold on. So paralegals have options. That's what
I
want to hear in this economic climate. Options.
Yes, they do. So that's one of the things I was looking at, because when I heard some stories of salaries that paralegals received, I was saying, well, this is another reason why you need an association. If you unite your paralegals, an attorney who is not very sensitive cannot decide to just pay you any that they feel and think that you're just a disposable, because you're in a union, you're unified. So therefore, it's actually, we can cap what we can collect as the minimum.
Right.
So that's a plus. And I mean, this would be the first in the Caribbean, in the US and Canada, and even the UK, or every state has a paralegal association. So if Jamaica pull this through, we will create a unity of integrity and trust. And even the government will start pulling from the association, because they are saying, okay, we have a caliber of peer persons pulling from. It doesn't matter which school they are trained, as long as they're properly organized and the reviews can show exactly how well did you do at the last job that you work, and what are your skill sets. It could be immigration, it could be anyone.
So guys, first of all, I wanted to note it. Jamaica is trying to start, well, Miss Edwards, on behalf of Jamaica, is trying to start a paralegal association. And you're hearing already some of the benefits of having that. You get to network with other paralegals. So you can find out what jobs are available, network with other persons who have more experience. She mentioned also that you are also able to be verifiable. So if you need a recommendation letter to go to somebody and you're registered with them and they have a history of your account, they can probably give a recommendation on your behalf, which strengthens your application to different places. And also it helps to create a union situation where some people are being paid less and others are being paid more, even though the firm can afford to pay them more. And so they can advocate on your behalf to get better pay. So you talked to us briefly about the government area. Just give us a figure and then give me a figure of how corporate is on average.
Well,
so you have 2 years experience and then if you have 10 years experience.
When I was with the RM, that was many years ago, I was taking home at least 50. Went to private for the law firm. It was 70 starting, plus we get annual bonuses every year and increase every year. So there are companies that treat their staff very well. So you just have to shop around and know exactly where you want to be.
So you'd say the starter is about 60, 65 starter.
Exactly.
Government. All right. And then going
and
up
even,
now.
even private. Corporate,
right.
Corporate roughly, I know the banks probably, I've never worked with the banks, but I know they are probably better paid. I'm not sure.
Well, I can speak to banking for the paralegals.
Okay, Teresa.
Paralegals who have at least 2 years experience going into banking, they start at about 100.
There we go.
That's where you start.
So you're looking at between government and private sector, you're looking at say 60 up. I'm sure I know paralegals who are getting at least, we're working with single attorneys are getting at least $150,000 per month. So and that is because of how good that paralegal was or is doing. Because
guys, you see, all right. It's
when you put yourself as irreplaceable, the attorneys will pay for you. They will pay. So the key is to be
corporate. What should we expect? How much it can go up to, probably?
You can go up to 180,000 per month. Yeah.
180,000.
And it depends on the company.
And it depends on the company. All right, guys. So we're hearing anywhere between 60 to 180,000 is what you can expect on a monthly, depending on how good you are as a paralegal and how much experience. And I keep hearing Ramon and Clover saying indispensable, valuable, trusted. Those words seem to be very important. And I'm just going to tell you guys that even though I wasn't a paralegal in banking, you see persons who did filing in banking, you always have somebody who does the filing clerk. Now, let me just be clear. You are not the filing clerk. You have a lot, you can file as well, but that's your substantive role. And I realized that for our accounts, we had to file for ourselves because they considered the content that we were touching so confidential that they didn't want anybody else to just put it on the file. They wanted only the persons who are working on it to handle it. That's how serious it was. I don't know if that's everywhere.
You have paralegal, different from legal secretaries.
All right, so tell us the difference. What's the difference?
A legal secretary does not need to have a paralegal certificate. That person is responsible for answering the phone, doing the filings, or maybe taking some notes.
Okay.
But the paralegal job is really to do that technical work. They do the research for the right, the attorneys, the draft, whatever documents that the attorney will require. But even legal opinion, a paralegal is also asked to draft, and the attorney will finalize it. They also, I've known of paralegals going to the resident magistrate court and holding for the attorneys, or even doing those small matters for the attorneys because they can. And also,
over here because I didn't even know that they could do these things.
Yes, they can go to court.
No, so I hear Ramon saying something. Tell me what he's saying, Ramon.
I was agreeing with Clover because I've seen your paralegals, the debt recovery matters as well.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, so I was agreeing with you.
Okay. Even the microfinance companies, their paralegals are the ones who go to court to present their debt cases.
Okay, so you can do collections and debt recovery as well.
Yes, you can.
So far, let me just backtrack because we're getting some good information. So far, if you articulate yourself well, you can write well, and you like to read and do some research, perhaps you should consider the legal field based on what you have said. They've also said that a good paralegal is somebody who is accurate, who is trusted and dependable and reliable is somebody who you can trust with your information and trust you to remind you and follow up. Follow through is, I think, what Ramon said. Follow through on things. So when somebody calls and sets up an appointment, you're not going to be wondering when this attorney, you're going to schedule it and you're going to ensure that what was intended is what is achieved. So a good paralegal knows their procedures, is accurate, is detailed, and follows through. That's how you set yourself up. If you are a good paralegal, you can start anywhere from $60,000 for the government all the way up to incorporate $180,000 as just a paralegal. How that sound, guys? How that sound? And oh, they said that you have options. Meaning you don't like it over here, so you can go over there, so because there's so many places that utilize paralegal. So you have a lot of options. Some of the options that they say: immigration, banking, insurance, government, solvency office, JCF, Indicom, all over the place. So you realize that you pretty much can work anywhere that there's a legal office.
And you can also, but may I also add that once you're a paralegal for life. An attorney,
what does that mean?
just like an attorney, if the attorney is not disbarred, he's an attorney for life.
Yeah.
So there's no retirement. There's no retirement age on being a paralegal.
Oh, so it means when you reach 60, you can offer your services, and 65.
Yeah, 65, you can offer your services.
And you know you're right. You know you're right, because more than half of my lecturers were over 60 at the time. Trust and believe. So you're right. So and if they can't practice, they teach somebody else how to do it.
Exactly. So there's another job. You can be a lecturer as a paralegal.
Right. So let's touch a bit quickly on this. So Ramon, you are a lecturer for paralegals. You teach paralegals how to become a good paralegal. What are some of the things that you inspire your paralegals to do? What are some of the ways you get them to learn the content? Is it easy teaching paralegal? Is it a hard area?
No, it's definitely not hard, because well, I start from the foundation of having a good appreciation for the law and prepare well. So having prepared well, prepare to teach. And what we've done is to modernize how we bring across the course with each class, with each evaluation. We use what works, take out what doesn't work, and then we maximize by putting in that personality. So I ensure that paralegals, and I think Danica and Shauna is online, some that I have teach, and Benisha. The first thing is that we try to be
shouting out his past students.
Yes. So the first thing is that they have to be patient, because it takes time. It's not something that when we have a class on Friday evening or Friday night, when you come home from a party, that's when you're going to take up the lecture. Because you're going to come class and you're going to hear me talk, and no matter how I try to engage you, it's not going to go through. And after you read it and you come to me, you're going to say, sir, it never so hard, I tell you. So as a paralegal, you have to first be patient with yourself, be patient with the information. You have to be diligent, set aside time.
Oh gosh, I love that word, diligent. Yeah, you know what that means? Stick-to-itive.
Yes,
exactly.
So
yes, no big stick over your back. You want to do this.
Exactly. I had a friend in law school who used to always say that the law is a jealous mistress. And so that is how she used to remind us every day, we have to study, we have to do this. And I was always busy doing other things and then studied late. But that's the saying. We had to set aside time, nevertheless, to do our law practice and to study law. So you have to be diligent. You have to be punctual. Punctuality is a big thing. You have to be dependable. You have to zone in on your work. Attention to detail is very important, because if I have a paralegal who sends me a document, the first thing I'm going to do is to look at the format of the document. I have a very strict way in how I format documents. You justify your work, 12 point, and then I do a spell check. And if I do a spell check and it comes up with a lot of spelling errors, I'm just sending it back. Because that means that you're not giving the work the time. And if you give it time properly the first time, you will always get it back a second and maybe a third time. But it's much better to have minor changes than to
Right.
have just a document filled with red ink like when I started to practice law.
Okay. So you said you have to be patient with your work, and I totally agree with you. But talk to me a little bit. So, say for example, somebody was not in the field of law first; they were doing something else. How long does it take them to be certified in this area, generally speaking?
Certified as in to finish the course or
Yes, to finish the course. Well, there are different courses, but at how long would you, or well, not to finish a course, how long do you think it would take somebody to be good or good enough at understanding what is required? Because I can tell you how long
okay.
it takes to do the
All
course.
right. So from the introduction, that's done with the paralegal intensive course or the paralegal course. We look at many different areas of law. So you get a touch on crim, you get a touch on civil, you get to explore administrative constitutional law. You and we start with a basis of what is law, what is the concept of law. And I always say that the laws are in the Bible. That's where we are first introduced with the Ten Commandments. And everything we do, like I see here, who is that?
Suzette?
Suzette saying that she's never done anything with law, but actually, Suzette, I'm sure at some point in time you were exposed to the Bible, so you know about the commandments. I'm sure you've been a part of a formal institution, so the rules that guide you in that institution is actually you following the law. As a citizen of Jamaica, you are following the laws. The constitutional that we
Oh
have
no.
even if the people on TV, they say how they always hold up the placard to say we want justice, you know that as a citizen you have a right to the protection um, from your state and your government. So you are introduced to law, and it's just when you start to study it that you realize how much you're actually exposed to it. A lot of us also have family members that have been involved in legal matters, whether it's a matter concerning a will or a matter concerning somebody who we have to put, our grandmother have to put up our property if bail out her cousin because your cousin go get in a wrongs with other people. So we are exposed to it, but when we study it, and I think having gone through the paralegal course, you have a very good appreciation because not only is the course burdensome enough that it pulls you to read and pulls you to understand and forces you to apply yourself, but also there are assignments that are given. And in these assignments, they are very practical, they're everyday activities. Along with the exam scenarios are quite real because we're applying cases and the cases are based on real scenarios. And as my students can tell you, I talk a lot. So I tell them stories about what happens in my practice. So sometimes we sit down for an extra 15 minutes when I want to leave the topic, but they keep asking these questions. And when they ask, I have to answer because it excites me too. So I would say that once you have finished the course, a paralegal course, you've applied yourself, you never just scrape through. You realize that you have a set of skills, and then when you go into the real world practice now, you see that you may not have been exposed to a lot of the work, but the training that you received, when you hear my voice saying to you, read that again, read it 2 times, read it 3 times. Before you present a document to whomever, whichever senior you're going to say, okay, let me check. Is the work justified? Is the work, is it line spacing properly? I leave out anything, I have any spelling errors. So you then have an appreciation. So what we prepare you for is to walk into the office competent. And then that office environment now evolves you. And as Clover said, you apply yourself, and that is when you receive the rewards and the full benefits of being a paralegal.
Okay, so clearly, you can come from pretty much any space, but as long as you are dedicated to doing it, diligent in doing the work, you can do it. Pretty
Definitely.
much, right? So it's something that anybody can do. Yes, Clover, you're saying something.
I was saying, are we not asking them to remember everything that you've taught them? You, uh, what you could do as a paralegal, once you're finished, while you're doing your training, is to create yourself your own manual. So the forms that you've been taught, depending on the areas of law that you've been taught, you prepare your manual. So when whatever work or any field you get into, whether it be a law firm, say a law firm, you have your manual, you have, and I always say keep a Bible. And I'm not saying the Bible of the Lord, but if you go into the law firm, you must have your civil procedure rules. Those are your Bible.
Definitely.
You there's some things that you must keep in the public body. The public body's management accountability is your Bible. So it depends where you are as a paralegal. You make sure you have your documents in place to, as your Bible, you must know what is in there. You have your manual, which is the theoretical aspect of your knowledge. Then the Bible is here, and you apply. It's so you're not being asked to remember everything you're taught, but create a way that you are knowledgeable in what you're doing. Because attorneys are trained to do the most of the law, because there's a lot of laws around, but they're trained to do most. And when in Jamaica, we do not have a division of profession. So what we do, whatever firm they started out with, they say, oh, I'm a family lawyer, I'm a succession attorney. And it goes on, I'm a criminal lawyer. But you can, as a paralegal, who is just trained in areas, and say, for instance, you're going to a firm where hasn't done entertainment law, as Suzette was mentioning, but you are so knowledgeable in entertainment law, you could speak to your attorney and say, I know how to do entertainment law.
Yes.
I could add this to your firm. So you are bringing something. It could be divorce. It could be anything. But because it's not that the attorney doesn't know about entertainment law, because they were trained, but that's not their specialization. But you could add to it and enhance them, because they won't take on something that they're not comfortable in. Nobody takes on things that they're not comfortable with. But if they know they have a second who is good at it,
file the documents,
who's good at it and can assist them in the research and even guide them, because humble attorneys will take guidance from a paralegal.
Yes.
So you
definitely 100%.
And are you speaking from experience, Clovo?
I'm speaking from experience.
Oh my goodness.
The law firm I went to, they didn't do divorce. And I remember I spoke to my attorney. I said I was just trained in divorce. I love divorce. And we had a client who had called, who was interested to do, and a prominent client. And I said, I know how to do it. I say, well, we can't refuse the client then. So I got my documents, I had a meeting, I took the notes, create my petition, I go through it over with my attorney, and we got stuff. From then on, we started doing divorces. So that is extra income coming into the firm. And
so hold on, stick a pin. You see why she said you need to keep the Bible? So when Mr. Clayton lecture you and said this is how you prepare a matter, a document to file in the family court for divorce or any sort, or the RM court, depending on the situation, what you need to do is keep a little book that shows you how to file those documents, what are the timelines that it is to be done, and you keep it so that when you, because we're not expecting you to walk with all of this in your head all the time, right? Yes.
Nope. Not expert, but the principles you must keep, though. Don't forget your principle. Mr. Clayton with teacher principles. Don't forget those principles.
Don't forget
those. Very important. They apply to all laws. It doesn't matter which law you do.
I see a question. I mean, you guys really are adding some really powerful nuggets here that you can really add great value. And if you add an income to your firm, you notice Clover keeps saying, I spoke to my attorney. I always hear paralegals speak to the partners who they work with as their attorneys, almost like it's them partner. It's like, they really take them on. Anything that is theirs is also theirs,
and that is the key.
I hear that say my attorney, like, no, my attorney didn't give it. No, my attorney,
And then
whatever you do, you must be vested.
It also shows a good relationship on Clover's part too with her organization.
Right.
Because when for example, Clover said my attorney, so that means that Clover runs that office or ran that office when she was there. And then but the difference is now when the paralegal is saying, oh, the attorney that I work for.
Yes, and you can hear the difference. And this is the difference between the good paralegals and the not so good ones. Yes.
Exactly.
I want to jump in here. I saw Suzette throw a question in the group to ask if we do entertainment law. So here's the thing. We always, Suzette, I want to just make this point. At the Institute of Law and Economics, we don't hire people to teach things that they don't actually do. So even though I studied law, for example, I don't practice law. So I will never lecture you on paralegal, because a person who lectures paralegal must either have experience being a paralegal or practice the law and must be able to instruct you in a practical way. So I don't do that part. So Mr. Clayton has knowledge of entertainment law, and that is one of the reasons why we hire people to do what they teach. Because when you know something, you can adapt the information to more than one field to help someone to understand. So even though our course outline for paralegal studies does not say that he is to teach entertainment law, sometimes to teach a concept, he may have to touch on entertainment law, and he does do so. However, we do have a course that teaches entertainment law, by the way.
Awesome. I'm sure Suzette will love that.
Yes, Mr. Clayton, you were saying something.
I mentioned that as well, but even in the entertainment law, it goes right back to commercial law. Because you're looking at the money, you're looking at the agreement. My last entertainment law client was Queen Ifrica. And the last thing I did for her was to register her company. So that's company's office work, of which I did none. That was all my paralegal.
So that's company law.
Yeah, and then we then applied for it to be registered as a charity. Again, I signed the documents, I reviewed them, but that was on my paralegal, who because at that time she did all the company law matters, and as such, yes.
Oh no, we're having a breakup with you, Ramon. Just go again. You were breaking up, Ramon. Go again.
Oh, I apologize. I was saying, yes, we did do contracts in relation to her performance. So yes, you get to see the terms for these kinds of agreements, but at the end of the day, it goes right back to contract law, commercial law principles. So the skills are directly transferable from your paralegal course, because you learn the foundational aspects of law, especially contract. We get into contracts every single day. So even entertainment law, environmental law, you may not have these specialty courses. Well, we have entertainment already, but definitely the skills are transferable.
Okay, so we just want to jump in, and he's mentioning something that allows me to segue. So he mentioned just now that the skills that you learn as a paralegal are transferable to a number of other areas, and I think we've been exploring that. There is a young lady here by the name of Shauna Todd. She's going to speak with you just briefly. She did the program, and while she gets ready to come in and just tell you about her experience doing the program and some of the transferable skills that she has gotten from the course. I just want to say, for some of you who may be wondering or may be asking what to do, let me just say the paralegal certificate course that we offer is 7 months. So it takes you 7 months to be trained in that program. It also includes a practical side, which is an internship. Again, that is because we don't believe in upskilling people with just theoretical knowledge. It must be practical, transferable knowledge. So our program also has an internship, just like our attorneys have an internship when they leave Norman Manley, same thing. And then also we have a shorter course. It's called the Paralegal Intensive, which is really for persons who are already practicing in the legal field or got some amount of training in legal training, but you're not sure how to be a paralegal, or you are a paralegal, but you need formal certification. Now that program is 6 weeks long. For that, because person just asked about entertainment law, I'm willing to drop in a guest lecture because we actually have a course called The Business of Entertainment Law, which focuses on patenting, copyright, trademarking, all of that, that focuses on, even if you're a YouTuber, how you protect your content, if you're an author, how you protect your content and all of that. And I can get the lawyer who is an entertainment lawyer to do a guest lecture for that. And perhaps I can throw it in even for your intensive. But it seems like Mr. Clayton is very versed over there. So we have options, and the entertainment law course is 6 weeks as well.
Is a lawyer on
the lawyer, our entertainment lawyer is Kristen Lewis.
Okay.
She focuses on entertainment law. That's really just her. So we have Shauna with us. She did the program. Talk to me, Shauna. Hi.
Hi, everyone. Good evening.
Hi, Shauna.
Hi. I'm loving the discussion. I'm doing backflips in my brain after hearing Clover speak on the different areas a paralegal can work and move into. I mean, love where I work, but I'm no.
Listen, look what you guys just did. I'm losing a member of my team.
I'm now thinking of freelancing, which is it's blowing my mind to see how much I can actually make. Thank you, Clover. Hi, Mr. Clayton, my lecturer. Thank you so much for joining us and being with us. My involvement with law really started from high school. I, at first, wanted to be a lawyer. And then when I saw the different elements of law to get into, I was like, so this is not for me, maybe. And I started shying away from it. But as I got older, I started seeing the different areas that law really plays in my life. Fast forward to working where I am now and being a part of a project that really deals with case management and post-release case management of youngsters in the juvenile facilities. Now, if that doesn't speak law in itself, I don't know what does, because every day I went to the different juvenile facilities and interacted with youth there that needed assistance in the area. And sometimes I kind of slap myself because I'm like, well, Shauna, if you did really take the time and go do law, you could maybe assist some of them and, you know, help them in certain areas.
Not too late.
So while being on that project, a co-worker of mine, she's on now, she challenged me and she said, you know, you should do this course. You maybe will, you know, eventually go further in it, but I think you should do it. So thank you, Miss Marshall, who really pushed me. And then Miss McGrawder just came with the application form and said, listen, you need to sign up. I'm not taking no for an answer, just get it done.
That's my Miss McGrawder, the parrot to my legal.
So I went and I cannot say even enough how much I value my training in paralegal studies. I first thought it was a bit tricky in our cohort because we started out with one lecturer, and then for personal reasons, we had to move from her to Mr. Clayton. And let me tell you, don't think that you're going to go into any class and not read. Please be prepared. If you're going to do this program, please be prepared to read. Equip yourself with knowledge. He's big on scenarios and attaching the law to the different scenarios. I had to fast learn how to just jump into reading great bodies of, you know, these scenarios and what aspects of the law will apply. So with moving away from being trained as a paralegal, I now can pay attention to detail. I now can even construct certain documents in a certain way. My line spacing is there, Mr. Clayton. I am very, very peculiar.
I can attest, her line spacing is there.
In doing even my emails, I have bulleted points. I'm straightforward to the point. I expect to see a certain results. I put in certain keywords. I'm very keen on those things that I've really taken away from my training. So I can tell you, I have not regretted. I've not regretted doing the whole program. We also had another aspect of it that we had to kickstart, which is the virtual aspect of our training. We had to move from face-to-face onto the online platform at the time because of COVID-19, of course. But even so, that added on a layer of experience and, you know, another layer of our training that enriched us as paralegals. So we're not only looking at doing hard copy files and doing hard copy documents, but we learned how to save things online and, you know, in a soft copy form that was even easier to access when we were doing our training. So kudos to the Institute of Law and Economics. I can't say I regret it. If you're thinking of doing the program, I can say go ahead. You won't regret it. It's added skills on top of what you already have, just to put yourself in a better position to earn. Thank you, Clover.
All right, thank you so much, Shauna. We did not pay her to say this. We just asked her to talk to us about her experience, I promise. Thank you so much, Shauna. Really and truly, and I've really seen the changes. And as she said, even if you don't practice being a paralegal right this minute, some of the skills that you get, the takeaways that you get, you will never lose them. And it will change. So with that in mind, we've decided that there's going to be a little special going on right now. If you are here, and only if you are here, they're having heard what they have said, the two courses that we are going to be offering a discount on, like just for only the persons who have registered and shown up tonight. If you go ahead, I'm going to ask my team to pull the links that are below the flyer that you're seeing there, and to paste them in the chat. If you register for the program, you will get a discount if you're coming from the webinar tonight. The paralegal intensive, as you know, is a 6-week program. It's designed for persons who have some amount of legal experience or have had some amount of paralegal training, at least 1 year working in the field, or have like training in some other way that is legal, and you can do the paralegal intensive. The paralegal certificate is an entry-level program. It's 7 months, and it takes you right through 11 areas of law and 2 areas of business. And of course, it has an internship component. So one certifies somebody who is already practicing or already has some amount of knowledge, and one brings you from point A straight up to the point that you can start to do some of the things like what Clover and Mr. Clayton have said. So go ahead, and if you register tonight, you definitely get a discount just for being here, just for taking the initiative and listening to the conversation and being serious about your life. So you complete the application, and my team will pay attention to that and ensure that you get a discount on your tuition for whichever of those 2 programs that you sign up for. And it has to be done between now and October 23rd, that you must sign up the application form and submit it to us. In terms of payments and so on, we'll guide you afterwards. You don't have to do that between now and the 23rd. You just need to sign up for them. For the paralegal intensive program, the cost of that program is $30,000. It's 6 weeks, and the cost of the paralegal certificate program is, depending on if you're signing up from Kingston or Montego Bay, it's $85,000 or $90,000. And yes, we offer payment plans. So that's also an option for the paralegal certificate program. So 85 to 90,000, depending on if you're Mobay or Kingston or outside of Jamaica, and $30,000 for the 6 weeks. No, let me tell you, based on what them say you can earn, isn't this a good investment? Come on, come on. You know, you're not going to get it any better than this. You're really not going to get it any better than this. I'm pretty sure Clover is going to ask me why I priced the program like that and make it look like, say, the industry not hot. But it's because we know that, to be honest, persons cannot afford the expensive program. And you hear Mr. Clayton can lecture, and he's one of the lecturers in our program. So you know you're getting quality in our program. So you can go ahead, quickly sign up. If you don't get it done by between tonight and the 23rd, the opportunity has passed. And I'm giving you that assurance that you will receive a discount on your tuition. And yeah, that's basically it. Oh, for the paralegal intensive program, even though early registration has passed, you can still register for it. That program is going to start within the next few weeks. And so you can look forward to that, while the paralegal certificate program, the current cohort has already begun. So you would start with a January 2. So that's the basic information. My team is there to support. If you have any other questions, ask Ms. McGraw. She's our senior student liaison officer. Ms. Benisha Marshall is also a student liaison officer. They know the information. If you need some guidance, no hat trick, nothing. You can get all the help and support that you need to complete the form. And all you have to do is register tonight, and the walkthrough in terms of enrollment and payment, that comes after. You just have to fill out the registration between now and the 23rd to get the discount. The courses are now being offered online. We have what you call a learning portal called Smart Term. So it's a learning environment. So your notes are posted there. So it's not just Zoom. It is video via Zoom, but in terms of you have access to content, and everybody don't have access to your class and that kind of thing. So it's a protected learning environment that we have called Smart Term. And we are proud to say that Smart Term was developed in the Caribbean for Jamaicans by a Jamaican. So it's excellent. So there's that. My team has it on screen, and I'm going to ask them to just give you another minute. And while we continue to talk through, thank you so much, Clover and Ramon, for joining us today. It has been excellent. We're streamlining and getting down to the end of it. But I wanted to ask you guys, just before you go and just before we get to the end of the discussion, what would you say to somebody who is considering coming into this field? What are the core things that they should look for? What are the core things that they should have coming into this field? I mean, apart from the knowledge, what is it? What personality trait would you say they should come into this with? What attitude?
Well, for me, I would say you must have excellent personality. So therefore, that's where your customer service comes in. That's how you have your returning clients coming back to you because they liaise more with you than the attorneys. Two, written and oral communication skill is excellent. That what you must have. So you practice your writing, you practice your grammar. You know, you get these things on par. Another tip I would give to a new paralegal, even paralegals already practicing, is that once you enter a firm or a company, use that first 3 months to familiarize yourself with the files. Go through each and every files, see where the files are at. So, and then you can create system in place to make it easier for you to reference the files and assist. Because you don't want to be asked something like a client call you and you don't even know what they're talking about. So it's always, and you can keep saying, give me a second, and you go running around trying to find the file. That your first key or point of entry is to know your files. Know who are your clients, have a database of their numbers, how to find them, their email addresses. Study the writing style of your attorneys, because different attorneys, everybody have their own style. You study those writing styles, and therefore you can actually deliver and not create this where you have a lot of red marks, because attorneys love to use red marks, red ink pens. So
they do?
Yeah, I do.
Why you guys do that?
Once
you're breaking up.
Ramon, you want to add on to that one?
And I was saying, you have to mark it up sometime at them wheel and because
no man, but when you guys do that to depress the students, I feel like, oh my god, I got it all wrong.
Let me tell you, it does one of two things. It either shows you that you never put in enough work, or it shows you that you didn't understand fully what you were doing. And if you never understand fully what you were doing, you know that you should have asked. Because you cannot survive in the legal fraternity and don't want to ask questions. I ask my friends questions. We actually have a group. When we left law school, we started a WhatsApp group specifically for asking legal questions. Because we're working in different departments all over Jamaica. And sometimes you have a precedent for personal injury, motor vehicle accident. You ever do a rent restriction matter, and you have to ask questions. And no matter, now I'm approaching 5 years at the bar, and I'm sure if life spares and I'm 50 years at the bar, I'm still going to be asking questions, because there's either a new way of doing things or a better, more efficient way of doing things. And as lawyers or as the paralegals, we are result driven. We want to close matters and we want to move on to the next matter. And as such, we want to find the best way to represent not only our clients, but also ourselves. And if you can do something in 1 week, as opposed to taking 6 months to get the same result, then which law are you going to go to? Which paralegal are you going to depend on? So just to answer the question, Clover, I hope you were finished, because I see a on your answer.
I still always have things to answer.
Okay,
so she invited you in, so go ahead.
Okay, good. What I'd add though is that for me, I think you just have to have a willingness. When you show a willingness, and this is from the male perspective also, because my approach to even education in high school changed significantly when I reached the university. It was almost as if I'm here, so now it's time to start putting in the work. So we learn at different levels, and I appreciate that because of my own personal experience. So I know that persons learn at different levels, and it takes different mechanisms to get the information across. And as Shauna said, I like to give scenarios. And that's because I know that some persons learn by pictures or relating it to their everyday experience. And even in my course, we don't do 6-hour lectures. We do lecture slides for PowerPoint presentations, some of them having some goofy pictures because sometimes you just need to break it up. And I think though, because it's a task and it is learning, it requires a willingness, it requires some level of dedication. Even take, for example, Clover. Clover has a master's in law. That's something that I aspire to. But whether or not I have the willingness is another question. So I think once you have the willingness and because make no joke about it, we all have the ability, right? We all have the ability. It just takes dedication. It takes looking at improving yourself and a need to want to improve yourself. But it starts with the willingness to want to do that. And that is why no matter how the information come across, when you call your lecturer and you say, sir, I did hear in a class and I'm gonna get it. But what you did mean when you said this? Go over it again. Once I'm available, we'll sit down and we talk about it because that shows to me that you're interested in what you're doing. And it shows to me also that you take pride in your work. So that is what I would say in terms of what
Okay. I don't know what else, guys.
Clayton, you must also need to add to that paralegals must have backbone. They must be strong because they're gonna have attorneys who are not your babysitters, and they're gonna have bad days in court, and they know how the accountability is on them. So some days they're gonna be pressure, they're gonna be harsh, but don't take it personal.
Yes.
Just know that this is how it operates.
I would agree. I would definitely agree, but I think, Clover, that some attorneys kind of abuse it, and
some of them, yes.
Yeah, and to tell you the truth, I wouldn't put up with it. So there's certain things that I would say
some
yes,
things.
definitely need to have a strong backbone. I can be miserable even when I'm lecturing, and they will say, "Sir, why are you so miserable today?" I say, because no one read. I want to have to. But they know it's because I want the best for them. So at the end of the day, though, you have to have a strong backbone. And I think that is what law does for you. It shows you that you don't need to waste words. You don't need to waste time. You need to be direct and you need to deal with different personalities because whoever you're working with is also a personality. You yourself, you're also a personality. Some people need them YouTube at lunchtime so that they can get through their day. Right? Even working from home now is a new phenomenon and not everybody is receptive to it. So, I mean, have a strong backbone, 100% agree. Because, well, even for me as a lawyer, how I am now isn't how I am when I started out. And trust me, when you're going down, and some paralegals, you're going to do this, you're going down to lockups. And when that scent hit you, you're going to have a strong backbone to stand up and talk to that person because trust me, the backbone, definitely.
So hold on. So guys, trust me, we could keep them on the floor because there are about 4 other questions that came. But just in the interest of time, I am going to say, boy, I believe that they've added quite a bit of value. Throughout the conversation, they would have touched on, different areas you can go into, some of the kind of key core skills that you need to have, the kind of fortitude you need to have, the kind of pay you can get, the requirements of being a good paralegal. I also want to use this opportunity to say to you that, the information that you have gained in this space is something that you can adapt to your own life and decide what is best for you. But as Ramon and as Clover has said, you have to be willing, you have to have backbone to do the profession. I also want to share with you that the advantage of being in the Caribbean, in Jamaican space at least, is that what you learn can be adapted to other Commonwealth jurisdictions like Barbados and Trinidad and other areas as a paralegal. And so you're not even limited to working in Jamaica or working for Jamaicans. And there are other Caribbean jurisdictions as well that you can adapt it to. To answer the question that I saw in the chat, once you complete the certification, you get what you call a post-secondary or a pre-university certification, which acknowledges you as a paralegal, if it is a paralegal program that you are doing. So the paralegal certificate acknowledges you. It's a post-secondary or a college or university certification. It's a continuing studies education. So it's pre-university but post um, secondary education. So that's the level of certification that you get. But what, as you can hear, is important is how well you do what you've been trained to do. Not so much what is the level as it is what how well you can do what you say, because we're going to train in 11 areas of law. So you really should be able to do really well. But I see somebody here, Suzette, saying she's trying to enroll. Team, please jump in and assist her. She's trying to enroll. She's not getting through. Our contact information is up here, and I've decided that I'm pulling something else out of the hat before we go. We're about to sign off and tell our speakers thank you. But one more thing is that we've realized that in the industry, a lot of paralegals, because of how valuable you are, you work with attorneys and you don't have the formal certification, but you know the stuff. You know the stuff. And the paralegal intensive is really for you so that you can get the certification, because when you don't have any certification, that's when you get exploited. That's when people use up your knowledge, but because they know you don't have any piece of paper or anything formal, because you don't have anything formal, sorry, what they do is that they begin to, play on the fact that you have the knowledge, but you can't authenticate what you know. So we've also decided to pull something out of the hat, something called our corporate education. I'm going to ask my team to just move to that slide quickly. The corporate education package, which is really for persons who are working with a firm or working with a corporate entity, working anywhere that requires you to do legal services, and you want to do either the paralegal certificate or the paralegal intensive. If you can get your supervisor to sponsor you, or you can find 2 other persons who will enroll for the program as well. So this is a new one. If you can enroll for the program as well and get 2 persons, we will give you 15% off your tuition. Or if you get your place to sponsor you and bring 2 other persons, we'll give them the discount to pay for you, right? So it is for you, it's for corporate groups. So it's 3 persons and you get 15% off. It says 5 here, but just for tonight, it's 15. So if you enroll, bring 2 other persons or talk to your boss and your boss send 2 persons with you, we'll give them 15% off of your tuition to do any of the programs that you opt to do. So that's an option tonight. I'm adding that one to it just because we have persons here who are basically have some basic knowledge but don't have all the resources and really want to get certified, and that's our way of helping you to become certified. It's really our version of doing an education grant, so to speak, but that's what we can do for you. So it's 15% off either of the programs that you opt to do. If you get 2 persons to enroll, and by enroll I mean sign up and pay for the program, you get 15% off. And if your boss paying for you and send 2 more people, we'll give them the 15% off to pay for you as well. Well, each of you will get 5% off of your own tuition. So that's how we're going to be doing it. We want to use this opportunity to really, 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 really thank Ms. Clover Edwards and Mr. Ramon Clayton for the time that they have spent with us. As you can see, they're very well trained. They have a lot of knowledge. They have a lot of things to do. And today is a midweek day that they could be using to do something else or to relax. Very dependable people. I've had the pleasure of working with both of them in different contexts, in different spaces. I went to law school with Clover at a point, and I would have met Mr. Clayton through our lecturing program here. But excellent professionals, and I'm not just saying that because they're here. I'm saying that because they are. I'm saying that because they know what they're saying and they have been doing it. They have not just been saying it. They're here because they've been doing it, and that's why we have them talking to you. So thank you so much to the both of you for spending some time with us, for guiding these persons who may be interested in the field. I want to give you guys an opportunity that if you want somebody to shout you out, Mr. Clayton is an attorney, so if you need some legal advice, just drop your email, Mr. Clayton, so they can hit you up if they need any support. And Clover, if you want them to be able to reach you to access your paralegal association or any other, and I think you have a business called Corporate and Governance Secretariat, if you want to get business services from a paralegal, or perhaps they might have a job, guys, I don't know, then Clover, you can drop your email there as well. Clover, it looks like you're frozen. Is that the case? I hope not. I hope not.
I think she's
a bit frozen. Okay, so hopefully we get her back, but I'm gonna have Ramon just drop his email in case you guys need an attorney. Please, it's for professional purposes. then you can contact him. I am aware that he can handle matters pretty well. Clover, we were saying before you got frozen that if you want to drop your email or any contact information, you can just tell them where to find you and drop the email there, or the Instagram or the Facebook or wherever they can find you for the services that you offer. Thank you again, both of you. Can't tell you how grateful we are for the contribution that you make to the legal industry, and you do it with such passion. Thank you. Yes, so I see Clover has dropped her thing there, and I just wanted to tell them quickly what you offer at the corporate corporate and governance secretariat. You're muted.
Okay, sorry. First, we offer more than like a paralegal services, both freelance and virtual paralegal services. We offer diaspora assistance, and we also do accounting services and offer banking and finance advice. And also, any business at all, we assist them in starting the business and maintaining their records throughout. So our focus mainly is on small businesses.
Excellent.
So there's a need for that, where small businesses, you have an idea, a business idea, you want to register with Companies Office, you want all your paralegal stuff or documentation to be done, we offer that services, and we also help with the annual returns straight through. And if there's auditing, we also offer that service.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. And Ramon, I know you work for a corporate entity, and do you take personal matters or matters independently?
Absolutely. We take matters on that basically have to do with divorce, so the sale, buying and selling of land, probates, so wills or letters of administration. I mean, the only areas that I tend to know shy away from are criminal law and yes, it's basically just criminal law and family matters. Family for me personally, because as I said, I'm too soft-hearted for the rigors of family court. And criminal just because of the level of dedication that it requires. My current capacity, I'm not able to fulfill it. So I tend to shy away from those matters. But generally I'm open for consultations. And of course, I have my dedication to ILE. So definitely you can contact me for any matters, and I'll be able to assist where I can. And if not, I have many colleagues that I can recommend.
Okay, great. So it sounds a lot like, by the way, guys, your internship usually requires 80 hours. I don't know if Miss Macroda told you, she probably did, because she's very dependable, love her like cook food. And usually for us, we have a lot of students who go off and do their internship and they don't come back because they get a full-time job. So maybe we'll be having conversations with Miss Edwards, Clover, to put some respect on her name just now. Miss Edwards, when we send a few persons over to the internship with her, because she has a lot of experience, and who knows what could come out of that. And we could probably send one and two of you to assist Mr. Clayton as well. Who knows what could come of that? But that's also an advantage of doing an internship. We've really had a lot of students who go off on these internships and end up with full-time jobs. And you find the place and so on. But we guide you, so don't worry about it. And thank you guys so much again for joining us. Our contact information is available on the screen. Follow us on Instagram at ILE_JA. Follow us on Facebook at the Institute of Law and Economics.com. And we can be contacted by phone 754-7701 or email us at ile.lawunit@gmail.com. And the biggest place you can find information about us is on our website. You can register there. You can read upon the courses that we offer. We offer a number of other courses apart from paralegal and paralegal intensive. And we do, as we said, entertainment law if you're interested in that. Thank you so much for joining us. We are looking forward to having you. And even if you just want some academic advice, I'm Teresa Taylor, Programs Manager, and we love to develop courses. We love to guide people to find their purpose. And you can give a call, and I will certainly, my team will schedule a meeting, and I'll be happy to have a conversation with you and to guide you as to which one of these may help you, or perhaps if somewhere else is better for you, because we also believe that you don't take all of it for yourself at the risk of people's purpose. So thank you so much again for joining us tonight. It has been a pleasure to have you, a pleasure to have my guest speakers, and we look forward to hearing more from you and to giving you the discounts so you can get your certification, right? And give my team a call if you need some more information on what we've said here tonight. Thanks again, and see you next time.
Bye.
Bye, guys. You don't look like anybody wants to leave. Bye, guys. If you have any questions, certainly my team will be happy to take it, and I'll be happy to answer as well. We look forward to having you. Have a good one.